and the tradition of INSA will start now. And I would invite Dr. Pankaj Joshi, my neighbor in Ahmedabad, to conduct the symposium on black hole physics. I am grateful that he accepted to do this in view of the recent excitement of the observations of black hole, and his own work was very well highlighted in the international press. So I invite Dr. Pankaj Joshi to take over and take you through this symposium.
I would like to warmly thank INSA and Professor Singhvi, Professor Sood, to ask me to conduct this particular symposium on black hole physics. There has been a recent excitement in this arena because of the 2017 Nobel on gravitational waves, and then the very recent Nobel Prize in cosmology and exoplanets. And all the same, on April 10 of this year, a shadow was reported of the very central core of the galaxy M87, which is popularly known widely as the shadow of the black hole. Before I go to my subject, I would like to connect to the very exciting sessions which were just held. The point is, in my view, there is no way, unless we connect to the university systems, the academies and the top bodies, there is no way that we can really resolve the crucial issues which have been happening. Now, I was asked to start and initiate a cosmology center at a university. It's a private university, but it is not a grade university. I did that. I have been there for about a year or so, and I just wanted to say that my experience so far has been extremely pleasant and rewarding. Lots of students do end up at IITs, at ISAs and NICEs and so on. But at the same time, there are lots of very bright students within our university system. And they are so good, they are so hardworking that, I have stories to tell, but I think this is not the time. But I just wanted to tell you that this particular subject is being led up by the students extremely enthusiastically. They are very interested in cosmology. I narrated the recent interest, the Nobel Prizes and the Cosmology Prize at the very latest, the interest in the black hole physics. The universe is composed of many galaxies. This is one of the older pictures. These are all galaxies seen in the faraway skies. But the most important and crucial development that has occurred in past two or three decades is that we are now on the verge of probing very strong gravity regions in the universe. Previously, that was not the case. You see, even through satellites and other things, the usual Newtonian gravity calculations would work. But now, with the very ambitious missions such as, Square Kilometer Array, TMT, LIGO, LISA, and I will talk more about the Event Horizon Telescope. With this kind of very, very powerful missions, we are really looking at the heart of the galaxies or the collapsed stars, and that might really bring in some surprises really in our understanding of the universe. Typically, for astronomers, you see, a black hole is where a lot of matter is compacted into a very small region. Simply speaking, that is what a black hole is. Only yesterday or day before, there was a report that at the center of our Milky Way, billions of solar masses are compacted. The same was the story for the M87 galaxy, our neighbor. Huge mass is compacted in very small region, and that is called the black hole. Of course, the Einstein theory has a stricter requirement. There has to be what is called an event horizon existing at the center, or to qualify or specify a black hole. But the most important point is that we are observing such powerful energy generations at places like the center of galaxies and in the vicinity of quasars and pulsars and so on and so forth, that this kind of a generation of huge energy is simply unaccounted for by any of the normal processes, the four forces that we know. And that is why this entire science of strong gravity has been picking up and drawing more and more interest. Of course, to do this, you have to use the Einstein's theory of gravitation. Of course, this is a special relativity equation. Never mind. The important point is the general theory of relativity must be used. Now, there is a history, very interesting history, going back to 1930s, the work of Chandrasekhar. What will happen to lightweight stars such as Sun? And I am sure many of you have read the controversy regarding the white dwarfs and the Chandrasekhar and Eddington and so on. Then there was the Zwicky neutron star story. I will not go into that. But coming to the topic of the current symposium, when you have a star which is say some 10, 20, 30 solar masses, then what would be the final fate of such a star when it runs out of its internal nuclear fuel? The star is like a balloon, you see. The balloon, you release the air and the entire balloon contracts, within a fraction of a few seconds. Similarly, when the nuclear fuel of the star is existed, then the entire star contracts. Now, here, for very large mass stars, what happens to them? This is a big story. I cannot go to the full detail of that, but I'll just say that it was the work of Oppenheimer and Schneider in 1939 which probed this question for the first time. They took a very simple model of a star collapse, used Einstein's theory of general relativity, and that is really the birth of a black hole. They deduced what is called a space-time singularity. Again, the singularity is a place where a lot of matter is compacted. But in the Oppenheimer-Schneider model, the singularity is always covered by what is called an event horizon. So event horizon, I just told you before a moment, that is the defining characteristic of a black hole. Now, when in 1960s the interest again arose into observational advances, the origin of a lot of energy in the skies, then it was hypothesized by Roger Penrose, Stephen Hawking, Kip Thorne, and others that possibly every star will become a black hole like this. It was a hypothesis. People worked very hard, trying to prove this. It could not be proved. But to cut the long story short, it has been seen now. Lots and lots of papers have been written by now, and it turns out that depending on the internal structure of the star, a space-time singularity, that is a region where a lot of matter is compacted, that will certainly happen. Those are the so-called powerful theorems of Stephen Hawking and others, Hawking, Penrose and others. However, sometimes the horizon comes, sometimes it does not come. So, when the horizon comes, it is a black hole. When the horizon doesn't form, it is an exploding fireball. We have been doing a lot of work in this arena, and few years ago, I was invited by the Scientific American to write a review article on this. I did that, and the bonus was it was their international cover story, translated in more than 20 languages. Of course, it was not done in Hindi because of various issues. And then I received lots and lots of messages, from various countries, but from India, very few. So I asked one of my friends in education, that how come, in India we have lots of bright students, and how come I am not getting any messages when then he said that, well, all bright Indian students, they are very busy with quota coaching classes or whatever to get into IITs, and the people who are not so bright are, looking for some jobs here or there. So nobody has time to look at things like Scientific American. Recent developments have been. That is what we will be talking about. We have with us, Professor Andrzej Krolak from Warsaw, who is leading the Polish Virgo collaboration in gravitational waves. So he will be telling us more about gravitational waves when I talk, the recent developments, as I say. And then we have Professor Kenichi Nakao, who will also be telling us more on what actually this very strong gravity regions are. And then Professor K.P. Singh will relate, with observational sites, the astrosat, so on and so forth. But the point is, the theme that I mentioned to you just before a moment, that is what happens, theoretical calculations right now I am talking about. So, lots and lot of work has been done over past decades. It has been a powerfully, it's a very debatable and emotional journey, but now many research papers have already existed from top academic places, including Cambridge, Perimeter, Princeton, on the foundation of singularities which could be seen, and on black holes. The Indian work is well cited, discussed, found intriguing, confirmed, even as the debates of course go on, because it's a very big issue. Black hole physics is applicable in all of the observational astrophysics. When you look at the gamma ray bursts, the galactic centers, so on and so forth, there is nothing more than black holes that you can invoke, and we have to count for this very vast amount of energies. But the bottom line is that, can you really probe these things observationally? Theory may do anything. Theoreticians, could do blue sky research, or they may not agree for what is called, I think, translation research or translational research, whatever it is. They may or may not do that. However, they still have to stand up to the challenge of the observational verification of what you are talking about. So the point is, can you see a black hole or a singularity out there in the sky? What I am really doing right now is I am kind of telling you that just like there are white dwarfs, there are neutron stars, there are black holes, similarly there are singularities. This term naked singularity was coined by Roger Penrose, and I think it has done a little bit of a social harm to the topic. Well, the singularities are a region where lot of matter is compacted. I'll just say a little more. Now, the important question, as I say, is what are the observational and astrophysical implications? Can we distinguish them in the skies? I can say anything, I can do any theories, but now with these powerful missions, can we really distinguish these objects? It appears the answer is in the affirmative. There are a number of possibilities: accretion disk, high energy particle collisions, gravitational lensing, the shadows I will just mention, so on and so forth. But we proved with a collaboration with Harvard University that for a black hole, when you look at the spectrum of its accretion disk, beyond a certain wavelength, there is a strong cutoff. On the other hand, if there is a singularity without horizon, then you can see very much higher energy emissions. Similarly, there is, you see, particle collision. We all are aware how strong are the limitations even for LHC. There is a limit because of the financial and other considerations, how much you can achieve on Earth. But out there in the sky, there might be, you see, the accelerators available to us. I'll come to the issue of shadow. What the Event Horizon Telescope has done is it has looked into the very center of the galaxy, and what they reported is an image, something like this. Either a black hole or a singularity can create this kind of a picture, really. Someone, after saying this picture, said that, oh, this looks like, a kid in the womb. But this is the picture that they have reported. The important thing is that, as I said, if you do have a singularity, then the exciting prospect, why there is interest? The exciting prospect is that you can possibly have a quantum gravity lab. Sorry to, sound a little, exotic. However, very top people like Edward Witten, Robert Ward, and so on, they have narrated or mentioned this kind of a possibility. If at all, the singularities as objects like black holes do exist in the universe. Does nature produce a quantum gravity lab whenever a massive star collapses? If so, this is important for the unification. So I like to call this quantum star rather than a naked singularity. Another paper that we published in Physical Review Letters a few years ago shows that there is a massive emission of the matter, light and energy as you go along. Well, finally, in last 1 minute, I will, the LIGO, these two objects are, colliding. Now, I'll end with saying what Kip Thorne said, that from Big Bang and black holes, this was his lecture which he gave, you see, about a year and a half ago at ICTS in Bangalore. So he said that if there is a black hole, this is the kind of trajectories around the object. But then Kip Thorne asked, I think he is a little more clear here, what if the central object is not a black hole? And he asked, this is his slide only, and you can verify this by going to the ICTS website, that what if the event horizon is not there? And then, here you can see him much more clearly, he says that there is a very widely different map of the trajectories. So, what he was suggesting, as I understood it, perhaps, is that the gravitational waveforms would be quite different in this case. Alright, with this much of an introduction or preliminary, my talk, may I request Professor Krolak come and give his presentation.